Hello everyone, welcome first year students English section, Faculty of Commerce Salat City University. This is Reem Sobhi. I'm a teaching assistant at Insurance Statistics and Mathematics Department. This is section 7 in Pure Mathematics course on chapter 3 titled Quadratic Equations. Our learning objectives from these chapters is to know what do we mean by quadratic equations, what are the main methods of solving quadratic equations, which are factoring method, square root method, completing square method, quadratic formula method, and graphical method. Let's start with quadratic equation. In a linear equation, the variable is raised only to the first power in any term where it occurs. But in quadratic equation, the variable is raised to the second power in at least one term. For example, 5x to power 2 plus 4x minus 7 equals 0. Also, x to the power 2 plus 3x equals to 0. Definition: the quadratic equation is an equation that can be written in the standard form, which is a x squared plus bx plus c equals 0, where a, b, and c are real numbers and a doesn't equals to 0. There are several methods for solving quadratic equations. These methods are factoring, the square root method, completing the square, and quadratic formula. Let's start with factoring method. There's some steps to solve a quadratic equation using factoring method. The first step is to transform the equation using standard form in which one side is 0. And again, this is the standard form, ax squared plus bx plus c equals 0. So this is the non-zero side. Step number 2 is to factor the non-zero side by factoring a and c, which are the outers, such that the sum of the outer and the inner, which is b, products is equal to b. So the outer and the inner products equals to b. Step number 3, set each factor to 0. A product of factors is 0 if and only if one or more of the factors is 0. Step number 4, solve each resulting equation. Let's solve some example in order to clarify these steps. Choose the correct answer by using factoring method. Solve the following examples. Example, using factoring method, the solution set for the following equation x squared minus 5x plus 6 equals 0 is. The first step in order to solve any quadratic equation using factoring method is to set the equation equals to the standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c equals to 0. After that, step number 2 is to factor a and c. So a here equals to 1 and c equals to 6. So by factoring x squared into x and factoring 6 into 2 times 3. So 2 times 3 equals 6, and also 1 times 6 equals 6. Let's try by using 2 and 3. By giving 2 and 3 negative signs, we can find that minus 2x by multiplying x with minus 2. So minus 2x plus x times minus 3 minus 3x. This gives minus 5x, which is the inner or equals to b. But by taking 1 and 6, we can see that 1 and 6 and the difference between 1 and 6 in order to give us 5, we should sign a negative sign for 1 and positive sign for 6. So 6x minus x equals to 5x. And this is 5, this is equals to 5, but the 5 here is positive and the 5 here, or the b here, is negative. So they are not the same. So we will take these factors, x minus 2 and x minus 3. Step number 3 is by equaling the two factors to 0. X minus 3 equals to 0. Then x minus 2 equals to 0 and x minus 3 equals to 0. So x equals to 2 and x equals to 3. And the solution set is 2 and 3, and the correct answer is A. Another example, by using factoring method, the solution set for the following equation is x squared equals 12 minus x. The first step again is to transform this equation into the standard form, which is ax squared plus bx plus c. So x squared plus x, as we minus 12 equals to 0. By taking minus x into the other side, so the sign of the x will change from minus to positive. So x squared plus x minus 12 equals to 0. Step number 2 is to factor a and c. So this will equals to x and x, and the product of negative 12 is negative 3 times 4, or 3 times negative 4, whatever, equals to 12. And the difference between these two numbers gives b, which is 1. But if we use 2 times 6, which is also equals to 12, the difference between 2 and 6 gives 4, not 1. So we cannot take this product, but we will take negative 3 and 4. So negative 3 and plus 4. Then x minus 3 times x plus 4 equals to 0. After that, x minus 3 equals to 0 and x plus 4 equals to 0. Then x equals to 3 and x equals to minus 4. So the solution set is 3 and minus 4, which is C. And the correct answer is C. Another example, using factoring method, the solution set for the following equation, 3x squared equals 12. First, we have to set this equation into the standard form. So 3x squared minus 12 equals to 0. After that, dividing a and c by 3. So x squared minus 4 equals to 0. And this equals to x minus 2 and x plus 2 equals to 0. Then x minus 2 equals to 0 and x plus 2 equals to 0. So x equals to 2 and x equals to minus 2. So the solution set is 2 and minus 2, and the correct answer is A. Another example, so find the solution set for this equation. Again, we should put this equation into the standard form. So 2x squared minus 11x plus 12 equals to 0. Again, by factoring a c, we get 2x and x, and for the 12 we can take 3 and 4. And by signing negative signs for 3 and 4, we can get that minus by multiplying 2x times minus 4, so minus 8x, and multiplying minus 3 with x, we get minus 3x, and this gives us negative h 11x, and also the product of minus 3 times minus 4 gives plus or positive 12. So our factors are 2x minus 3 times x minus 4 equals to 0. So 2x minus 3 equals to 0, and x minus 4 equals to 0. So 2x equals 3, so x equals to 3 by 2, and x equals to 4. So the solution set is 3 by 2 and 4, and the correct answer is C. Another example. Find the solution set for this equation, again, by transforming this equation into the standard form. We can get 3t squared minus or plus 0t minus 48 equals to 0. By dividing all sides with 3 in order to simplify the equation, we can get t squared plus 0t minus 16 equals to 0. And by factoring a and c, we get t and t and 4 and 4. And we can sign a negative sign for one 4 and positive sign for the other. So the difference between minus 4 and plus 4 gives 0, and minus 4 times 4 gives negative 16. So our factors are t minus 4 times t plus 4 equals to 0. So t minus 4 equals to 0, and t plus 4 equals to 0. Then t equals to 4, and t equals to minus 4. So the correct answer is A or B. But this is a mistake in this question. We should have only one correct answer, but we can choose A and or B in this case. The second method is the square root method. Suppose that the quadratic equation is in the form ax squared plus c equals to 0, and a is not equals to 0. We can use the square root property as follows. If x squared equals to b, then x equals to plus or minus square root of b, where b is a constant real number. Let's solve some examples so we can clarify these. Using the square root method, solve the following examples. Example, using the square root method, the solution set for the following equation, b squared minus 8 equals to 0. First, we have to make p squared equals to 8, or x squared equals to p, which is the standard form of the square root method. Then by taking the square root for both sides, p squared and square root for 8. And there is no square root for 8, and we can say that square root for 4 times 2. So P equals 2 plus or minus 2 times the square root of 2. So the solution set is 2 square root of 2 and minus 2 times square root of 2. And the correct answer is A. Again, another example. By using the square root method, find the solution set of this equation. Again, we would take the square root for both sides. So, square root of x minus 3 square equals the square root of 36. Then, x minus 3 equals plus or minus 6. After that, x equals to, by taking the negative 3 into the other side, then x equals 3 plus or minus 6, which means x equals 3 plus 6 equals to 9, and 3 minus 6, x equals to minus 3. So the solution set is 9 minus 3 and 9, and the correct answer is B. Another example, again, by using the square root method, find the solution set for the following equation. Again, by taking the square root of both sides, we get 5x minus 2 equals to plus or minus, and 27, we don't have a square root for 27, and this means 3 times 9, and this equals to 3 and square root of 3. So, by dividing both sides by 5 and taking 2 into the other side, so x equals 2. 2 plus or minus 3 times square root of 3, all by 5. So the solution set will be 2 plus 3 times square root of 3 over 5, and 2 minus 3 times square root of 3 over 5. And the correct answer is D. Another example, the square root, using the square root method, the solution set for these equations equals, again, taking the square root for both sides, we get 4x minus 1 equals 2. You should note that there is a negative square root. There is no square root for any negative number. And we can change these roots by using imaginary numbers. We can transform these into I and square root of 16, which means 4x minus 1 equals I, or plus or minus, and the square root for the 16 is plus or minus 4. After that, 4x equals 1 by taking 1 to the other side, plus or minus 4i. I means imaginary number, and this instead of the negative sign under the root. We can exchange the root from the negative sign into I times square root of 16. And after that, we can solve the root. So x equals 1 plus or minus 4i by 4. And the solution set equals 2. 1 plus 4i over 4 and 1 minus 4i over 4. And the correct answer is C. Another example, find the solution set for the following equation. X minus 1 squared equals to 25. Again, by taking the square root for both sides, we can get x minus 1 equals to plus or minus 5. And by taking minus 1 into the other side, we get x equals to 1 plus or minus 5. And this gives us the solution set of 1 plus 5, 6, and 1 minus 5 minus 4. And the solution set is minus 4 and 6, and the correct answer is B. Another example is to find the solution set for this equation by taking the square root for both sides. We get x plus 3 equals to 0. Then x equals to minus 3. There is a mistake here in the choices, and the choice A should be minus 3, not 3. So the correct answer is A. Using the square root method, the solution set for the following equation, again by taking the square root for both sides, we get, for 12, there is no square root for 12. So this equals to square root of 3 times 4. So 3x plus 8 equals plus or minus 2 times square root of 3. By taking 8 into the other side, so 3x equals to minus 8 plus or minus 2 square root of 3. Then x equals to minus 8 plus or minus 2 times square root of 3 over 3. And our solution set equals to minus 8 plus 2 times square root of 3 over 3, and minus 8 minus 2 times square root of 3 over 3. And this is equals to D. So the correct answer is D. Thank you for watching and sharing your time with us. See you at the next video. Good luck and goodbye.